Welcome everyone to our City Council meeting for Monday, March 9th. Can we have a roll call, please?
Joyce Zeller. Here. Bob Thomas.
Here.
Terry McClung.
Here.
David Mitchell.
Here.
James DeVito.
Here.
Mickey Schneider.
Here.
6.
Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All right. I have a couple of items actually. I passed out a copy of the 2012 calendar year audit from the state legislative audit, and the council discussed this last year, but there never was a motion made to approve it. So I'd like to add that to the agenda, please. Okay.
Are you putting that under new business, I assume? Or
Yeah, we can put it under new business.
Number 3?
Number 3 or number 1? Which one do you want, Mr. Mayor?
Number 2.
Is Lonnie involved in it?
Lonnie might be, yeah.
Okay, let's put it at number 1 under new business.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, I've got just a meeting date, but I can do that under the agenda settings or council comments. We need to, I would like to set a date to have a joint meeting between the planning and the city council just for information only to discuss the new high school, or the old high school, and what's going on up there with proposal community centers and stuff.
You want that under new business? Or?
We can do that under new business and number 3. Anybody else have anything? If not, hear a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's so moved. Everybody get a chance to review the minutes for February 23rd.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Any errors, additions, comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. And the special meeting for February 24th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so moved. As far as commission goes, Virgil Fowler was nominated at the last meeting for the Historic District Commission.
Move to approve the nomination of Virgil Fowler for the HDC.
Second.
Any comments? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Virgil, if you're watching. And that brings us to public comments. Rachel Bree is the first one up. There you are. Hi.
Rachel Brex, One Magnetic.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. First and foremost, I would like to thank Council for working diligently on Ordinance 2224 for the last approximately 6 months. I am proud to be part of a community that is saying no to animal abuse and no to discrimination. A very exciting thing happened last week, and you may have heard the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus announced it will phase out elephants from its performances by 2018, and that growing public concern about how the animals are treated led to that decision. Concern as evidenced by animal advocates all over the world, including right here in our town. There's been somewhat of a mood shift among our customers, said Elena Feld, the company's executive VP. A lot of people aren't comfortable with us touring with our elephants. Hopefully all other circuses, including Carson and Barnes, will follow their lead. Another reason for the decision, company President Kenneth Feld said, was that certain cities and counties have passed anti-circus and anti-elephant ordinances. The company's 3 shows visit 115 cities throughout the year, and Feld said it's expensive to fight legislation in each of these jurisdictions, and it's also difficult to plan tours amid constantly changing regulations. Ordinances like the one you are considering for its second reading tonight. The work for animals is far from over, but by passing this ordinance here in Eureka Springs, you are giving a voice to animals. You're also supporting your constituents, and you are supporting change. The kind of change that shows compassion, civility, and leadership. Thank you again for considering passing this important measure for animals everywhere.
Thank you. Jack Moyer?
There he is.
Jack?
He's here.
There he is. Come on in, Mr. Moyer.
Handout for everybody there. Sorry about that. I also wanted to take out everything on the desk there.
Good job.
I appreciate the opportunity to come and chat with you. I had an issue that I had been working with a couple of the aldermen last year, and I wanted to bring that to the full table today. It relates to infrastructure for the city of Eureka Springs. I had a couple extra copies also. Oh, yeah. The request actually is threefold. This is actually the first request. We have grown concerned regarding the street condition outside of the Crescent Hotel. This is the current condition photograph taken earlier this morning. For the last couple of years, we've asked for the street to be included in the Eureka Springs street plan. So I wanted to, again, make that request that the area of Prospect Street, obviously that's where the trolleys pull in and out, be considered for the street plan. I started looking with Alderman Mitchell and Alderman Perkypile last year at why we had some trouble finding enough money to go into the street fund and water and sewer. And I wanted to bring the full council up to where that research led me. As you may know, several years back we passed an ordinance and made a vote where we passed a 1% tax in Eureka Springs, and that 1% tax had specific allocations. 50% of that allocation went to water and sewer. 40% went to street construction, repair, maintenance, and drainage. And 10% went to the purchase, repair, and maintenance of police and fire equipment. The challenge is, and if you can imagine, that was when the new sewer treatment plant went in. And if that fund had stayed put, we would have quite a bit of resources to extend the sewer treatment plant or sewer lines out to the hospital and fix our drainage, et cetera, et cetera. But the challenge that occurred was in 2008. We passed an ordinance 2083, that reallocated those funds. And I'll have that here. The reallocation of the funds moved the infrastructure money, which was 1%, a 1% sales tax, to 65% then went to general fund, and 35% went to the street fund. So long story short is, when we had a new sewer treatment plant, we paid in partial with this division, which was 50% water and sewer, 40% street construction, 10% purchase, repair, and maintenance of police and fire. Unfortunately, we ran in a tricky position financially, as demonstrated by this sheet. I won't go through that in detail, but that'll give you a 13-year history of where your expense allocations grew within departments. That became Ordinance 28.3, which changed that. The last thing that I wanted to mention, and our concern, number one is the street, number two is the water rates in the city on the commercial departments, and I needed to bring you all aware of that. That's this page here. Specifically, water rates in Fayetteville are about $6.16 per thousand. Water rates in Eureka Springs are $12.23 per thousand. Translation, that means that the water bill at the Crescent Hotel is $91,797, or $5,000 more than our electric bill. And if we want to talk about economic development and recruiting businesses, this is clearly one thing that people will be looking for. Finally, my last three requests are, number one, I would like to request that Prospect Avenue gets included in the street plan for either 2015 or 2016. I would also like to ask you, Mr. Mayor, that a subcommittee be formed of this council, and potentially that is a ongoing committee that reviews the finances of the city and sees if we can find a way to move money into infrastructure that has been moved from a public vote and pulled off and reallocated into the general fund, and that we do a reinstate our goal to try to get our water and sewer rates to be competitive for the areas. I'm sorry that I ran a little long on public on comment. I have that. I have a couple of extra copies too. But thank you all for your extra time.
Thank you, Terry.
Susie Bell?
Watching the events over the city's non-discrimination ordinance unfold over the past few weeks brought back memories of something similar we experienced at our First United Methodist Church of Eureka Springs last year. But for the people involved, I would say I was watching a rerun. In January of last year, the Administrative Council voted to become a reconciling congregation, identifying with a national movement of other Methodists, the Reconciling Ministries Network. The RMN's mission is to mobilize United Methodists of all sexual orientation and gender identities to transform the church and world into the full expression of God's inclusive love. In particular, the RMN believes that in order to accomplish that goal, it's necessary to change the law. The church law that says that LGBTs may not become ordained, or that their marriages or unions may not be blessed in the church, and that a Methodist minister may not perform any such ceremony anywhere. A year of prayer and conversation followed, a lot of tears and upheavals. But last December, about 65% of the congregation voted to retain our designation as a reconciling congregation. Was that the end of the discussion? No, of course it wasn't. And when the city's NDO is ratified on May 12th, and I am sure that it will be, the citywide discussion that is taking place now will continue. I'm part of a group from the First United Methodist Church that actively speaks up and out against discrimination that is based solely on sexual orientation or gender identity. With that as our mission, you can imagine how thrilled we were when you also spoke up and out by passing the NDO on February 9th. Now, last year, during the summer and fall diversity weekends, we set up in Basin Park to spread our message that Jesus loves all, that there are no exceptions. In August, we handed out ice cream, bottles of water. November, we had cupcakes, warm spiced tea, and water. We weren't there to preach, but to visit. And people came up to us to ask us what we were doing and why. The response was overwhelming. By the end of our day, our hearts had grown several sizes larger by the affirming messages we received in return. We plan to be on the top of the new deli restaurant on April 4th, decked out in our t-shirts adorned with the message of inclusion, and ready to pass out treats and warm welcomes to everyone passing by. Acceptance is so easy to give. It requires no energy or cost, but the returns are priceless. It's unfortunate that it has become necessary to enact laws that require civility to people, that make it unlawful to treat some differently because of such characteristics such as race, skin color, gender, age, nationality, religion, and now sexual orientation and sexual identity. But if that's what it takes, so be it. We will continue to spread our message of love and acceptance to all. We pledge our support for the city's non-discrimination ordinance, individually and collectively, the Reconciling Ministries Network, group from the First United Methodist Church of Eureka Springs stands with the city on promoting equality and inclusion, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I have a copy of each and every one of you. Thank you.
Rebecca Delaney.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Zeleny from Hayes Avenue in Eureka Springs. Did you say it wrong again? I'm here to urge you to continue to vote yes for prohibiting the wild traveling animal shows in Eureka Springs. There are numerous reasons why it's important to prohibit these types of shows. We've talked about a lot of them, or you've been emailed about them, but a few are there's a safety factor, public health issues with TB and other viruses, lack of federal oversight, and the rampant animal abuse that takes place. These animals are subjected to beatings, electrocution, and being held captive in confined spaces for most of their day. Allowance of these shows to perform in our city demonstrates an acceptance of this abuse, which I believe most of us here and out there do not really support. So please vote to support the ordinance because Eureka Springs does not accept animal abuse or abuse to humans either. And thank you for what you guys have done about the non-discrimination situation as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, she didn't sign.
Ferguson. Ferguson Stewart. There you are. Come on in.
Mayor Barry, Alderman, thank you for your time. Ferguson Stewart, 7 Harvey Road. I'm here just to give you guys some information. What brought me here to live in Eureka Springs and not any other place was the type of people that live here. They are unique to Eureka and they would not want to live anywhere else. The character of the Eurekans made me want to be part of this community and become one of its citizens. They have certain qualities that most people in the United States could only hope for. These are trustfulness, honesty, integrity, acceptance, openness, spiritual direction, and faithfulness, helpfulness, kindness, and many more. But this council, after the actions of February 2nd, may have lost the faith and the trust of its citizens by the actions that seem, in my humble opinion, to be not the best interest of Eureka Springs. I hope this council will start to use the tools that the taxpayers provide them in terms of the city attorney. He can only advise, and it is up to you to heed and listen. As we move forward, because we must move forward, to a better Eureka, I would like to praise the mayor on his work to get the $200,000 grant that repaired the understructure of the collapsed tunnel. We have more infrastructure that needs urgent attention. So please refocus on the sewer leaks and the water leaks. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our public comments. So our first up on unfinished business is yard waste.
Legislative day, didn't it?
Move to talk. What?
Number 1, was it legislative? With
Oh,
Lonnie?
no, we're under new business. Yeah.
That's number 1 under new business.
Yeah.
So moved.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right.
What are we saying?
I'm sorry.
Ms. Snyder, go
I am
for
so
it.
not here.
Number 1, unfinished business.
Go for it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yes. After finally having a three-way meeting with the head of Public Works and the mayor and myself, there has been a change of hands in the State Department, which is causing confusion and problems, and the mass confusion has come down to this. We, the city, cannot be involved in any way, size, shape, or form in regards to finding or providing a place for yard waste without turning it into a much bigger deal than it is. All we can do is hope that our yard waste workers will publicly go after private citizens, ads in the paper or whatever, asking for anybody who is a private citizen with private property to donate the use of gulches and what have you as landfill for the yard workers to bring their yard waste and dump it in there. We, the city, cannot be involved. Only the yard workers and private people can do this. That's what it comes down to. Talk to Jack Byrne. He'll explain. And that's it, so it can now be removed from the agenda. That's
Any further comments?
Did you want to clarify any of my mishmash? Okay.
You did good.
No, wait, that means that the city cannot at all be involved in getting rid of waste?
Of finding
garbage?
anything for the workers or anything else? No. Our
Where did
hands,
this come from?
Our hands at this point are thoroughly tied. We cannot get the variance that I was told a year ago we could get because there's been a change of hand. Nobody is allowed to burn anymore because of air pollution.
Maybe we can fluoridate it.
Yeah, that would get rid of it. But there's so many now between state and federal laws. Everybody's hands in the state are tied. Rogers can do something because they are so much bigger than us and have so much more land. They have a place for guys to come and dump. Berryville has a place that we used to be able to use, and now because that's becoming so restricted, we're cut off. We have our deep little valleys. That's it. That we could use if it's privately owned and there no money changes hands. Then our workers can do that.
Terry?
Well, I mean, if that's the case, if it's a matter of just having land, we got Leatherwood. We got all kinds of
The
land.
city cannot.
You just said it was Rogers can because they have land.
Yeah, they are not being allowed to burn and stuff, and that's what we would have to do.
Why can't we throw in one of our?
Their biggest thing is
Policy.
because they're so big, they have a grinder machine that all of our leaves and yard waste go into. Theirs can handle the vines. Ours can't. It's too old and too small. They can put anything and everything in there.
So it's-
Bamboo, the whole 9 yards. We can't.
We can't do commercial.
Right.
We would still pick up the private.
And we pick up once a month. And it cannot include bamboo or vines.
Yeah, but we can't handle commercial yard waste.
Well, she was saying that it was a matter of land.
Rogers is being able to deal because they're so much bigger. They have a wood chipper type thing.
But that has nothing to do
Yes,
with
it
land.
does. Because they can take that and they can grind everything and mulch all of it. We can't. So we would have to have proper area for all the vines and all of the bamboo. Because we can't grind it up like a big city with a big equipment thingy can. That's the problem. They've got the place to put all this out there after grinding to let it get mulched. We don't have that kind of area. But nobody in the state's allowed to burn. And I'm still confused on the private person thing. I've been told two different things. A private individual like me, I could rake my leaves and burn them. But I've also been told I can rake my leaves and burn them, but if a neighbor complains, I'm in trouble because of state law. So we are tied.
You can't burn in the city.
Yes, you can.
With a fire
permit.
with a fire permit, yes. But according to some of the state laws, on private property, if a neighbor complains, I'm polluting the air. Like I said, it's a big, huge mess. But right now, we are out of it. It will be up to the workers to talk to private individuals on private land. That's it. So, it is now off the agenda.
All right.
Gone as far as we can go for now.
Ordinance number 2224. James.
Move to suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2224 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Okay. So we have roll call.
Oh, okay.
Terry McClung.
Nope.
Joyce Elder,
Yes.
James DeVito,
Yes.
Bob Thomas,
Yes.
Becky Schneider,
Nope.
David Mitchell,
Yes.
4-2. Ordinance number 2224, an ordinance amending Title VI of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to prohibit traveling, exotic, and/or wild animal exhibitions and/or performances.
Have a motion to approve. Mr. DeVito?
Move to approve ordinance 2224 on its second reading.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. McClung?
Yeah, it's still, it's, for me, the chances of a circus coming back to Eureka Springs, for a profit venture are zero. And there's really no location other than what they used this last time that they could actually functionally have a circus inside the city limits. And, I think the chances of Noah come to town with 2 animals of each kind is as likely as the circus returning to Eureka Springs. I think it's a waste of our time.
Mr. Snyder?
Okay. I'm going to go back to legalities and technicalities yet again. And I did check. I asked if we were going to do the special election that we include this or put it on the next general ballot. Nobody wanted to do it, so now it's general ballot or nothing because the time period is over for the special. I'm going to go back to lawsuits since certain people seem to be so concerned about being sued over the slightest thing, including fluoride. When you sit there and say, and I don't have the thing in front of me, so I am not going to be wording it perfectly, but when you sit there and say that we are experts, knowing that having an animal in a cage going over 5 miles a day is hazardous to their health, our health, the whole world's health, you're setting yourself open for a lawsuit. You can't say it because it ain't true. We don't know. You can sit there and simply say we do not want to have performing animals. Fine. You don't have to go on and on and on and on with 5 million things that you don't know, can't prove because you're not an expert. I would suggest highly that we ask the city attorney, is the ordinance as written with these various little comments in there, and that's all I'm going to call them, is it suable? Is it a very good or big possibility or any possibility that the city could waste zillions of dollars fighting a lawsuit because it's specifying that we're experts? I just asked you.
Okay. Is it possible to be sued over this ordinance? Certainly it's possible to be sued over this ordinance. Is it likely? I think that goes back probably to, unfortunately, Mr. McClung, or statements, who's going to try to force their way in here for 2,000 people, and half of which may not want them anyway. So it's probably not going to bring a lawsuit. But if it does, there are things about it that I would not be particularly happy with having to try to argue in front of a court. I'm not going to point those out right now. If you want me to point them out to the council, I'll be glad to, if you were wanting to look at it for changes. But the particular phrase that you're looking at, I don't think carries as much weight as some of the other problems that may be in that ordinance. That if there was a suit.
Okay, so with there being such a major possibility of having a lawsuit, why go through with this rather than put it to a vote of the people on the next general ballot? There is no rush. There obviously is no reason for a rush. It lets the whole town speak up and voice their opinion, which means it will probably pass anyway, but it will be done by the people and worded safely.
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. McClung is correct. Why would a circus want to come back to town when they had, 700 in attendance, and quite a few of those were free tickets anyway? Business economics pretty well dictates that. Location pretty well dictates that. But set that aside for a minute, because that's not the real reason, basically, for this ordinance per se. The real reason for this ordinance is that Eureka Springs goes on record with many cities, counties, states, and countries around the world. That's why. Eureka Springs is making a statement. Eureka Springs made a statement at the last meeting in February about discrimination, stood up in defiance of the state. Pretty well knew that the chances of litigation on that has a high potential, probably higher potential than this circus ordinance has, for sure. But we did it. And why did we do it? Because it was right. It was the right thing to do. And Eureka Springs tries very hard to do the right thing. It doesn't cow down. It doesn't bow down to external pressures, no matter how unpleasant those pressures might be. Therefore.
Mr. DeVito?
Well, others on the council don't seem to agree with the majority here. We are empowered by the people to do their bidding, and I've received as many emails on this issue as any other thing that's come before me. True, we're not experts on fluoride either, but we listen to people, we do our research. I think the 600-pound elephant that's sitting in the room right now is the fact that the largest and most popular circus in the world is doing away with elephants. To ignore that ignores the future, ignores the will of the people, and that's what we're impaneled here to do, is to serve the will of the people. There has been nobody in this community other than the people who sit at the council table here who have expressed support for the circus. On the contrary, the only expressions of support for the circus have been by people invested in the circus, their expert witnesses, and people who don't live in this community. So as a council person, I feel it's my duty to foster the wishes of the people I represent, and that's why this ordinance is on its second reading before us.
Ms. Schneider?
Okay, first of all, the elephants will be several years before they get retired. So, what it comes down to is this. The equality thing was read in an emergency because we had literally one night to do it. We did it, and then what did we do? We put it to a vote of the people. There is no rush on the animal thing, but y'all are also denying the people the right to vote on it. They can vote on equality, but they can't vote on the animal issue. Why is that? Especially considering this town, it's going to pass, and there is no rush, and we would avoid any possibility of a lawsuit. Fluoride ordinances were turned down because there was a slight possibility, very slight, even slighter than this, of being sued over. So the people can vote on equality, but they cannot vote on the animal issue. That doesn't exactly sound equal and fair to me.
I'll call the question. A second. Is there a second?
Yes.
Well, it may not need to be. All right, we got a motion for calling the question. Any comments on that? All right, let's have a roll call and calling the question.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Zeller?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
This is just calling the question?
Correct.
Yes.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Yes.
6-0.
All right. So do I have another motion?
The motion is to approve it on its second reading.
Yes. By title only.
No,
Oh,
we've done that already.
Yeah.
that's right.
Do we already have that?
No, we need a voice vote
For,
to approve on the second reading.
oh, yeah, but I'm waiting for, who seconded it?
David?
David did? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Vote. You want to call the roll? Please, ma'am.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Nope.
Ms. Eller?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
No.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
4-2.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I move to suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2224 on its third reading by title only.
Why?
Second.
What's the rush?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Prove the rush. Prove the emergency. There is none.
He didn't call for an emergency.
I don't care. There is no rush to read it on the third.
You're out of order.
Any other
Who are
discussion?
you?
Mickey, please. All right, we got a motion, put it on third, roll call.
Mr. Thomas?
No.
Ms. Eller?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
No.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell?
The motion again was
Suspend the rules and put it on its third reading.
yes.
Mr. McClung?
No.
3-3.
I'm going to go ahead and vote yes.
4-3. Ordinance number 2224, an ordinance amending Title VI of the Eureka Springs Municipal Code to prohibit traveling exotic and/or wild animal exhibitions and/or performances.
Move to approve ordinance number 2224 on its third reading.
Second.
Mr. McClung?
Well, just to say that I think that ordinance 2223 and 2224 are ordinances that we have enacted or are enacting to fix problems that did not exist in Eureka Springs in the first place. And I just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Ms. Schneider?
I don't like spiteful actions, and that's exactly what a third reading is. There is absolutely, positively, well-known, absolutely no reason to rush this or anything else, which is why I could go ahead and wait for a people vote from the citizenry.
Ms. Zeller?
We've been discussing this thing for,
6 months.
6-8 months. This is hardly a rush. And to this point, as long as we've discussed it, absolutely no one has contacted me and said they wanted to vote on this. Frankly, I don't think the people of Eureka Springs want to vote on this. They don't want to be bothered with it. They're just tired of hearing about it. They want it passed, period. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Mitchell?
Ditto to what Joyce eloquently said last meeting. Very clearly asked the public for input into this situation. I got 3 people that contacted me that said they were definitely for banning the traveling animals. If everybody wanted to vote, you know what? I would have heard something different because I just would have. And so as far as I'm concerned, let's just move on and finish this up.
Ms. Schneider?
When it first came up, and whether it's been 6 weeks, 6 months, doesn't matter. When it first came up, it was the people who wanted the people to vote on it were the majority. They have seen and heard everything y'all have said and done, as in, too bad, we're going to make your decision for you. You can like it or lump it. So they aren't speaking up anymore. It's obviously a foregone conclusion. The majority of people here don't give a damn about the people's right to vote.
I'll take exception to that statement. In the 6 to the 8 months that we have been laboring over this ordinance, there have been nobody from this community that has come before us in favor of the circus.
That's right.
I feel that everyone has had more than adequate time to come forth on this, and as Ms. Zeller pointed out, this has been before us for over 6 months. I would like to clear it off our agenda because I have other things to put on there.
All right, any further discussion? You got a motion?
We do have a motion and a second.
Okay. Do we need a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Zeller?
Yes.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Mr. McClung?
Nope.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes.
Ms. Schneider?
Nope.
4-2.
Okay. Pass. That's it. All right.
You don't have to come for the animals anymore. Thank you, Rachel.
Next item is, I don't know if we put in your outbox as a resolution, a notice that we had from National League of Cities on a warranty program for water and sewer lines. This is a company that is wanting us...
Point of order.
Oops, I'm sorry.
Wasn't
You're
it
right.
the legislative audit?
You're right. You're right. And I should have had a motion anyway. Go ahead. We need a motion to discuss the
So
legislative
moved.
audit.
Second.
My ink wasn't quite dry yet. Mr. Mitchell.
I'd like to make a motion that council accept the Legislative Joint Auditing Committee Division of Legislative Audit as submitted to us.
Second?
Discussion. All right, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So moved. Good. I know we have that in the minutes.
I didn't want to hear you, Monty. I don't know what to say.
Oh,
All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I ask our finance director a question?
Certainly.
Can we get, like we got last year, that monthly report like you were giving us?
Yes, that's forthcoming. We've been trying to close out the year.
Sure.
And so we'll have that for you real soon.
Okay.
And
Try to be the last 2 months, I believe, out there, 2 or 3, whatever.
And the 2013 audit, you will get a copy of it, but it has not been released yet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. McClung, for bringing that up. We'll get you an updated copy on that.
Thank you.
Motion to discuss resolution on the National League of Cities warranty program.
So moved.
Second.
All right. I don't know if y'all had a chance to look through the information that was in your box about this resolution. We have been working with Public Works. We were notified about this, and this is a warranty for citizens who can, and it's at their option. All they want is this company is for us to have a resolution saying that we'll participate. And we'll send out, they will actually notify all the customers of the water and sewer department and offer them a warranty to repair their water lines or sewer lines if there's a water or sewer line break on their side of the meter. Right now, we're responsible for everything that's on the other side of the meter, but if anything between the meter and their house, the homeowner or property owner is responsible for any of those leaks. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had a water leak, but it can get expensive real quick. I had one 2 years ago. My water bill was, I don't know, $800, and that was discounted after the water leak. And then, of course, I had a sewer, and the plumber and the carpenter was another $1,800. So to me, if I had this at $5 a month, even for, $60 a year, 10 years, $600, it could have been 20 years, and I would have still been in good shape. So that's what this is. It's not committing the city to pay anything, but it's giving our citizens the opportunity, if they want to participate, they have that option. Mr. McClung.
And what is the premium charge?
I believe it's $5.75 a month for water and $7.75 for sewer. They do not have to take both. They can option, one or the other, and they can pay. We will not be responsible for, I don't think we're responsible for billing or anything. They'll be billing everything, and then we will be getting a rebate back from them. For every client, they do get, I think, 50 cents per customer.
That's from the meter to the structure,
Meter to the structure.
or from the structure to the city sewer, in that direction.
Yeah, whichever way you want, yes.
Yeah.
Depending on which way it's flowing.
In or out.
In or out, correct.
So-
Mr. Mitchell.
So in historical perspective here, when some people have had trouble, say on their sewer line, and we're over on the city side and we're cleaning and opening it up, and they don't have that backflow protector and everything, and then they choose not to do this, I guess anybody can still try and come after, so it really doesn't make any difference.
True.
But it kind of
It
makes
gives
you
them the option to, at least they'll have
protect
insurance to
themselves.
pay for it.
Yeah, thank you.
Besides their homeowners for any other items that damage it.
Okay.
Now, of course, this doesn't cover any damages. This just pertains to the sewer line itself
Correct.
or water line. This one's fine.
What about commercial entities? Or
I
is this
think
just
I think it goes with commercial also. I didn't see any.
same price?
Yes.
This is all for residential property.
Is it residential? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Just residential. Yeah, just residential. Sorry.
It's okay.
Is that stated in the contract here?
No, and it says homeowners, so, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So is this like an insurance program that a homeowner can buy if they want to buy it, and it costs them $5.75 a month for water and $7.75 for the sewer line, and what this would cover is if something goes wrong with the line between the meter and the house, like roots get into something and break a pipe or something, this covers the cost of that instead of the homeowner getting billed for it.
Correct.
And does this backflow valve that whatever this thing is that Public Works wants people to put in, does this make this insurance unnecessary, or is this another? I'm trying to clarify this so that the people watching
The backflow valve is something completely different.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, if there's a break in your sewer line, that's what this is for.
Okay,
Or
so
a break in the
this
water
is
line.
voluntary. This
Correct.
is, a homeowner doesn't have to do this if they don't want
There's
to.
no requirement for the homeowners to do it.
Okay,
It's just a service that we're offering the homeowners
okay,
if they elect to do it.
okay.
So you need a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion that we sign the resolution to participate in the NLC Service Line Warranty Program, a number, and read it.
Read it for passage.
Read it for passage.
Second.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, would you like to read the... Oh, all those in favor? I'm sorry, you're right. Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolution number will be 655. A resolution to participate in NLC Service Line Warranty Program. Whereas the City of Eureka Springs desires to offer residential property owners the opportunity, but not the obligation, to purchase service line warranties. And whereas the National League of Cities is sponsoring a program that is administered by Utility Service Partners Incorporated to provide relief to the city residents around the country from the high cost of service line repair. And whereas, in partnership with NLC, the city provides an affordable solution that covers cost of repairs to water and sewer lines for which homeowners are responsible. And whereas the utility service partners handle all marketing and management of the program and educate homeowners about their lateral line responsibilities to ensure that all repairs are performed to city code, by local licensed contractors and at no cost or liability to the city. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that Eureka Springs will inform the National League of Cities of its intent to participate in the NLC endorsed Utility Service Partners Incorporated Service Line Warranty Program.
Okay, I thought he was going to defer that. No, okay. All right. Next is a resolution for the parks for the Arkansas Highway Transportation Alternative Program. Transportation Alternative. Basically, their trails programs, matching grant.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
The parks, as they do quite often, is seeking a grant for their part of their trails. And this is an 80-20 matching grant to develop parts of the trails around Dairy Hollow. And I think y'all have gotten a map showing that area and through there. This is, at this point, is basically just the application that they need a resolution for to go ahead and submit for the grant into there. Doesn't mean that they're going to get the grant or that we've got to pay for it at this point in time, but that if they do get it, then we would be able to, at that time, decide we want to go ahead and match, do the 20% match. Bruce wasn't here, but he was supposed to be here, but I think he's going to be, he's out. The estimate is $39,500, and then the parks would be responsible for $7,900 on there. I'm not sure if y'all got the letter that went along with the map also. Mr. McClung.
I'm assuming that stretch of trail, it's not real long. I think you said 1,400 feet, isn't it? I suppose that's a quarter of a mile through there.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a hard surface trail.
Correct. It'll be handicapped.
Right. So it's a asphalt trail. Is that?
I'm not sure if it's asphalt, but it is hard surface. I know that. I'm thinking it probably would be.
I'm just curious.
Yes, sir.
In talking to Bruce about it earlier, this goes right in front of my house.
Yeah.
A lot of that expense is culverting to go from along the Barbara Dix's property and on up to Clear Springs, because that area is going to has such an overflow of water to come through there. And he said that there will be some probably concrete or asphalt will be put in, but they haven't determined that yet, from the way I understood what he said today.
As far as the trail surface.
Yeah, exactly what to build it out. They did some consulting apparently with some of the different construction companies to see what they recommend, but nobody's exactly decided yet what surface to use. But a lot of the expense goes to the culverting. They'd have to go for about a third of the distance there.
They're going to put the trail right over the creek?
That is from that point where it leaves my property and enters Miss Dix's property. I understand that is not part of, he doesn't believe that's part of the city's property that goes across there. And yeah, that would have to be to bring the water down the gully there to that point at least. It'd have to run through culvert.
Well, what is involved then, if this goes on homeowners' property, then what is involved, what does it do to their property? Anything? Does it not matter to the homeowner whether this happens or not?
The way he had described it at that point, it would be basically right up against the street. And the street right-of-way probably actually covers use of that area. But it would, yeah, put a hard surface of some kind in about a 10-foot wide gap along there. And then there would probably be some more of the money spent engineering-wise down the next three houses, my house, Miss Walker's house, and then the next house after that, as a terraced area. And they're not sure how to break that yet if they get the money.
Do you think this is a good thing, since you own property
There's
here?
a lot of people walk through there already, and there's a
Okay.
lot of people bike through there. I mean, that's a very popular area for bikes to go up through there because they can get through behind there to Leatherwood.
Okay.
And they also, illegally, I think, go up the power line right of way there. But there is a lot of... And Clear Springs has for years walked that street, and I've seen at different times the Clear Springs kids nearly splattered out there in front of my house on repeated occasions. So there is some need because there's a lot of people walking in the area.
Okay.
10 foot wide, how they go, I'm not sure all the details, but it does have a lot of pedestrian traffic in that for that particular part of because of Clear Springs and the two parks. Mr. Mitchell.
I think this is great and everything. Just a comment, I would hope at some point, I understand the grant covers this here and it's covering the school and all. At some point it would be nice and hopefully they would consider trying for more grants to follow Grand Avenue on down and around and maybe connect into North Main out there in the sidewalk and the music park and the bathrooms. And it would be nice to eventually see all of that ADA compliant. So, because right now, you've got the street over here that comes down around by the dog park, and then I see the little brown trails and all. But eventually having ADA compliant that circles out North Main and comes around and gives them an opportunity to really walk on a nice surface would be nice also, not just bikes. That's
It's in the plans.
Any other comments? Mr. McClung?
I just assume that before it's submitted, there has to be some kind of engineering or some plans or something.
Right, yeah.
That
Yeah, they'll be going through the plans and everything. And I'm pretty sure that this isn't on anybody's private property. It'll all be in the right of way. I don't think I don't think it can be on private property.
not without procuring an easement.
Permission, yeah.
Do we have a motion for this?
Not yet.
No.
Oh. Okay, well,
Make
are
a
we ready
motion
for a
to...
motion?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we give this resolution a number and read it for approval.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay. We need a roll call. It just votes. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
The resolution number will be 656. A resolution expressing the willingness of the City of Eureka Springs to utilize Federal Aid Transportation Alternative Program funds. Whereas the City of Eureka Springs understands Federal Aid Transportation Alternative funds are available at 80% federal participation and 20% local match to develop or improve Dairy Hollow Trail. And whereas the City of Eureka Springs understands that federal aid funds are available for this project on a reimbursable basis, requiring work to be accomplished and proof of payment prior to actual monetary reimbursement. And whereas this project, using federal funding, will be open and available for use by the general public and maintained by the applicant for the life of the project. Now therefore be it resolved by the Eureka Springs City Council that, Section 1, the City of Eureka Springs will participate in accordance with its designated responsibility, including maintenance of this project. Section 2, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to execute all appropriate agreements and contracts necessary to expedite the construction of the above stated project. Section 3, the City Council of Eureka Springs pledges its full support and hereby authorizes the mayor to cooperate with the Arkansas State Highway and Transportation Department to initiate action to implement this project.
All right. Next is, if I can get a motion to discuss possibility of having a joint meeting with the Planning Commission and City Council.
So moved. Second.
You probably have seen, read in the paper about, we've had several public hearings and we've had group sessions probably for the last year on development of the old high school property. There's been a committee that's been working together and been meeting almost weekly, on a weekly basis, trying to, along with an architectural firm in Little Rock and another economic development firm, on putting together plans and economic feasibility on how to develop the old school property. And of course, the majority, when they came out with the big, you might say, public hearing about a year ago, was the majority of the people wanted to put in a community center. That seemed to be the biggest thing. And so the architects at that point came up with the old school, or the gymnasium area, and trying to designate that as a community center. At that time, Mayor Pate, and along with my directive, said, you know, this is all great and everything, but the city cannot commit any money to the project. I mean, that's just one basic on here. If that's going to be a killer of the project, then I'm sorry, but we just don't have any money to buy buildings or hardly to maintain buildings. We have enough problems as it is maintaining what we have. So the committee has come up with some a variety of solutions to this property up there. And what they would like to do is to present it before the parks. I say the planning. It's actually the Parks Commission instead of the planning. And City Council, just to bring us up to date, and so everybody can know what exactly is happening. They will also meet with the planning and the HDC as a joint group also. And it's not asking us to do anything, it's just for our information, because a lot of us have been reading about it in the papers, and this is just a good time. If you have questions and comments and possible solutions, it's a good time to throw that in there, through there. So that what they would like to do is possibly the parks meet next Tuesday night at 6, and if possible with the council, they would like to meet prior to that, maybe at 5 o'clock.
Parks or planning?
Parks.
Okay.
I said planning, but it's actually parks.
I better check.
Yeah.
So just on a workshop level.
It's just a workshop, and there's no discussion to be made. It's just totally information for the council, to bring the council up to speed. Like I said, there's been half a dozen people meeting when they went down to Little Rock for the chamber legislative meeting. They met with several legislatures on this. And in a lot of respects, it's very exciting. It's about what's going on up there. And they have taken our directive about the city's not going to put any money into Hart. But the city probably ultimately will be the owner of the community center. So I think that's one reason we need to be involved and get the council involved, so we know, bring everybody up to date. But I don't know how your all's schedule is and if that's satisfactory to meet next Tuesday on the 17th at 5 o'clock.
So that'll limit to 5 to 6. It's just a 1 hour in and out. Got it.
Yep. It's just a presentation, and if they can't present it within an hour, actually they should be able to do it in 30 minutes and then open for discussion on there.
Here? Where's the meeting?
Probably upstairs in the courtroom, I would think. It'll be in the courthouse, but I'll verify that. Courtroom.
Yeah, I gave up my birthday for our emergency meeting and planning. Now you want me to give up my 32nd wedding anniversary.
Just for an hour.
No. If I don't make it, it's just because... I mean, that's St. Patrick's Day. Good Lord. They aren't rescheduling?
Yeah, okay. Mr. McClung.
So that's Tuesday the 17th at 5 p.m.
Correct. That's it. I don't think we need a motion or anything else. That's just if y'all, unless they were, unless the majority of you can't make it or say, I don't want to go, or this is terrible.
Okay, if I don't show, you know why.
We'll know why. Yeah. I won't say anything. That's it. So we're back down to agenda setting. Bob?
Nope, nothing from me.
Anybody? Mr. McClung?
No, sir.
Mr. Villa?
I would like a discussion, which seems like every new administration I bring the topic up, and this is a new administration, so I would like a discussion regarding this meeting room and how unconducive it is to good government.
The new community center is going to have a room.
And it has parking.
Anyway, that's my only topic.
Okay.
I'll second
All right, Mr. Mitchell.
No.
Ms. Snyder.
No.
Ms. Zeller.
I don't have anything.
All right, how about comments? Ms. Snyder.
Yeah.
I jumped over Ms. Zeller, but that's okay. I'll get back to you.
Yeah, normally I like going last, but first is good. Okay, so the House passed the fluoride issue, and then it died. So it's good that I warned everybody 2 weeks ago, hey, it's not over yet. So there will be a meeting of the community people. It's gotten to the point now where even though we have the issue going to the health department, and David will be speaking there, and hopefully turning in a report, it's time for the community to jump on the bandwagon, so to speak, and become active. And it has been organized that a week from tomorrow, on March 18th at 6:30 p.m. at the Echo Building, will be the first community fluoride meeting in regards to what can we do to keep our water clean and safe. Anybody and everybody who does not want fluoride, please go to the meeting. And there will be articles in both papers coming out this week with time and contact number and all further information.
Ms. Snyder, did you mean,
18th.
you said a week from tomorrow, you meant a week from Wednesday?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, a week from Wednesday. It'll be
Not on your
Wednesday-
anniversary?
No. Wednesday, March 18th.
Okay.
But it'll be in the paper, so read and show up, please.
Anything else?
That's it. No new
Joyce,
business.
you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Mr. Mitchell?
No.
James?
I'd like to remind everybody about an organizational meeting to bolster ordinance number 2223. It will be at Caribe this coming Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Only positively focused people are invited. It will be a community effort to ensure that there are civil rights for everybody in the community.
Mr. McClung?
Just in regards to that ordinance 2223, I just can't help but say that again that I feel that it was done in a community that the problem didn't exist. I mean, we did better for the GLBT by living in this community and set a better example for one another and across the country. By the way, we get along here anyway. I think this community is very well rounded, and very supportive of each other across the board. And I just feel a lot of sadness over the whole darn deal. I really do. It's because that's, to make a point, big deal. What the point do for this town? Nothing. Sorry.
Bob?
No comment.
You had your chance. All right.
Well, I only forgot one other thing. Completely forgot that actually this whole thing is very, very timely because I've been saying for a couple months now how I've been fighting for equality for 50 years. And by golly, this weekend was 50 years. 50 years ago this weekend was the Selma March that really, really, really kicked everything off in 1965. So it's a very properly timed law that we did. That's it.
All right. Got some dates coming up. March 14th, we have St. Patty's Day Parade at 2 p.m. March 15th, classic movie at the auditorium, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. They've been having some good classics there. So if you haven't been down, come and see it. The 21st of March is the 33rd Annual Victorian Classic at 9 a.m. And also on the 21st is the Vagina Monologues at 7 p.m. at the auditorium. And I want to extend personal thanks, and I know I've had a lot of people call me and thank me for the Public Works. Public Works have done an extraordinary job this year in keeping our streets clean and safe and accessible. The first snow we had, they were able to put down a combination beet juice and salt, so we were able to get the snow and ice off. The second time, they couldn't put down the beet juice because of the rain, but they came right back and pretty promptly got the streets accessible compared to, for a Class 4 storm that we were supposed to have. I think we're real blessed, and the Public Works need a good hand on that. So that's all I have. Nothing else. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.